begins, I'll go.
That line snaking outside of Terminal 1 as travelers arrive to Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport Saturday.
My jaw dropped. I was like, holy.
Well, my jaw didn't drop. And to be honest, if you were just paying attention to what's going on right now, you wouldn't be surprised about this. What you just saw is footage from the Fort Lauderdale airport. And it's spring break, so people are traveling. And it's a bit chaotic because TSA is not getting paid, and a lot of their staff are not showing up for work anymore. So this is what the US airports look like right now. And if you're a Canadian thinking about spring break vacation in the United States, you might want to watch this video. Now, if you're a regular and a subscriber to my channel, well, first of all, thank you. But I'm pretty sure many of you are not going to the United States, regardless if it's spring break or any other sort of vacation or holiday or whatever else. But in this video, I'm going to show you where some of the Canadians are going for their spring break vacation. And some of these are destinations that I never would have thought of when I was their age. Why? Because I went to my default California and Nevada. Looking back at it, yeah, I should have expanded my horizons, but, can't change the past. But first, I want to show an article and a report from Global News, and they talk about the StatCan data from February. Yeah, February. Let's take a look.
The trend continues. Fewer Canadians are traveling to the United States amid ongoing trade tensions between the two countries, according to new data from Statistics Canada. Stats Canada says about 1.5 million Canadian residents returned from the U.S. in February. That's down 14.5% compared with the same month last year.
Now, if 14% sounds low to you, don't forget, we are comparing February of last year, and February is when we started the boycott.
And compared with February of 2024, before trade tensions between the two countries began, the decline is even steeper at more than 31%. Return trips by both car and air also declined, with fewer Canadians returning from the U.S. by road and by plane.
Sorry, what did the orange guy say again? Oh yeah, we don't need anything from Canada. And a large amount of Canadians are listening to that. Now, like I said in previous videos, I would love to see that number at 50%. But it's probably not going to happen. But what I am happy about is that the percentage that it's at right now, we all know that it's causing true damage in the United States. But we're not alone. I mean, the rest of the world is also boycotting as well. But I do want to focus on the Canada side right now. And the clip that you just saw came from this article. It's titled, Canadians are still avoiding US travel, but not vice versa, according to StatCan. A newly released Statistics Canada report stated that last February, Canadian resident return trips from the United States totaled 1.5 million, down 14.5% from the same month 1 year earlier. Now, this next part really caught my attention. Statistics Canada also stated that February, US resident trips to Canada were up 6.1% from the same month 1 year earlier to reach 959,600, making the first increase after 12 consecutive months of year-over-year declines. Now, why would the US resident trips to Canada be increasing after, 12 consecutive months? I don't have the answer to this. Maybe they're coming to Canada because they want to ski on our ski slopes. Or maybe they're starting to take advantage of the dollar, because the US dollar does go farther here. But the fact that it just broke the 12-month streak kind of tells me something's going on here. I don't know what it is. Maybe our good channel friend Wayne Smith, the professor at the Toronto Metropolitan University, might be able to tell us why. But just because we're not going to the United States doesn't mean Canadians are not traveling anymore. The article states Canadian resident return trips from overseas countries by air totaled 1.3 million in February 2026, up 7.2% from the same month 1 year earlier. In February, for the second consecutive month, a greater number of Canadian residents returned from overseas by air, 1.3 million, than from the United States by auto, 1.0 million. So we have a 12-month streak of US citizens declining in terms of traveling to Canada. That is broken. And this time, for the second consecutive month, a greater number of Canadian residents returning from overseas. I don't know why this is happening, but you have to wonder what's happened in the last 2 months. I mean, the major things were Venezuela, as well as starting a war in the Middle East. Maybe some Canadians are just thinking, okay, maybe I don't want to go to the United States anymore. In total, US residents made 720,400 trips by automobile, 6.4%, and 239,200 trips by air, 4.9%, to Canada in February. Now, over the past 10 months since I've had my channel, I've had plenty of US citizens who are, first of all, they say sorry for what their country's doing to us. But they've also been saying too that they are purposely making trips to Canada. Why? Because they don't want to support their own country, and they want to support us. Who knows, maybe that could be a factor as well for why we're seeing an increased number of US citizens coming to Canada. If it is, I welcome them. Now, this next percentage, I like it. Statistics Canada stated that an even sharper decline, 31.5%, was observed when comparing Canadian resident travel to the US from February 2024 with February 2026. So comparing before the orange idiot was in the office up until now, 31.5%, to me, Yeah, like I said, I'd love it to be higher. But one thing I do know is that as long as the orange idiot and his administration keep doing stupid shit, that percentage is probably not going to go down. In fact, it's probably just going to go a little bit higher. The article then states, in addition, overseas residents' trips to Canada in February were up 10.5% from February 2025. So to all the overseas and international viewers to my channel, if you visited Canada last year, I want to thank you on behalf of Canada. And if you did visit, let us know in the comments below where you visited in Canada. Now back to the topic of where Canadians are actually going. I have a report that I'm going to show. It's spring break right now, so everybody wants to go on vacation. I mean, that's why my friend is out here in Asia. And I have another friend who took his family out to Tokyo. But before I get to where Canadians are actually going now instead of the United States, I would like to take this opportunity to thank Brett for posting this on the Garde de Leaf Hay Cafe page. It's a photo from Pipstone Valley in Saskatchewan. And I really appreciate you posting it on the Garde de Leaf page on the Hay Cafe website, because it gives the opportunity to show it to everybody, not just me. Because what's happening right now is my inbox is starting to fill up, and the unread messages are starting to rise just like gas prices. So thank you, Brett, for posting it and sharing it with the community. Okay, let's get to that report, talking about where Canadians are going instead of the United States.
As much as Maritimers love their home, many are headed elsewhere this March break.
We're going to the Alps and the Mediterranean coast, like Switzerland, Barcelona, Monaco, Europe. I'm excited to look at the medieval kind of castles, free time, going on the water, beaches, all that stuff.
We're going to the Swiss Alps, Barcelona, Morocco, I think.
We go to New York and then we're going to Puerto Rico. We're going on a cruise, so yeah, it's going to be really fun.
Best friends Jada and Aisha will spend spring break in Costa Rica.
Honestly, our first choice was Hawaii originally, but Costa Rica, I feel like it's kind of a similar vibe. What do you think?
It's a lot closer as well than going all the way to Hawaii, and it's also really pretty. You get the volcanoes and waterfalls and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Costa Rica, Swiss Alps, Monaco. You know, when I was their age, I wish I actually traveled to these places. Because like I said earlier, I always went to my default Las Vegas, California, and Hawaii. But I think that's one of my biggest regrets. I mean, when I was in my 20s, I went straight to work. I didn't spend enough time traveling the world and really experiencing it. And really, it's only my job that gave me the opportunity to kind of see the world. So if there's anyone in their 20s watching my videos, my best advice to you is go travel.
Vacation spots that were a safer bet, as some travel advisories limit the options.
With the temporary suspension of Cuba and our direct flights, most of them have sold out. There may be one or two random seats that are going unoccupied.
But demand is up for other sunny destinations.
The direct services still go to Jamaica, Mexico, Dominican. We have a Nassau flight that will be departing tonight with Air Canada. We've had a cold, long winter, so everybody's looking to get out of here for a little bit. They are still traveling. Business is up, and it's an exciting time to be going away.
So let me get some of the feedback from the community. Are you guys traveling anywhere within the next month or for spring break? Or for this year? And if so, where will you be going? I know in my last video, I said now might not be a good time to travel, especially with all the chaos going on and, jet fuel prices going up and stuff like that. But aside from that, people are still going to travel. They're just going to be a little bit more mindful and, maybe protect themselves a little bit more. For me, the only trips that I have planned are coming back home to Vancouver for a bit to see family and friends, and then also a trip to Australia towards the end of the year. So let the community know where you're going to be going.
The only thing stopping them, Mother Nature, as inclement weather forces some cancellations and delays at Halifax's International Airport.
We're 3 days late getting to our destination. Good news, we're in Nova Scotia the whole time.
As long as we get there, we book 2 days early because we know things like this happen.
Well, the weather is not only playing a role for flights departing here in Halifax, but it's impacting incoming flights too. It's no doubt disappointing for travelers, but rest assured, once they get to their destination, they say all will be forgiven, Maria.
Forgiven and forgotten. Thank you so much, Vanessa.
Now, it's pretty clear that many Canadians are starting to travel to different destinations that they might not have considered before. And I'm sure if the orange guy was never around and didn't take office, a lot of us would still be traveling to the United States. But the fact that we're not, we're going to be avoiding situations like this. Let's take a look.
Shutdown and the spring break rush meant long lines at Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport. Congress can't agree on a budget for Homeland Security. Now some security agents are staying home.
And those who are going to work know that they're not going to get paid for a while. Certainly doesn't make it
fun to head to the airport, and in the middle of all of it is Local 10's Samir Nefsi. And how long does it take for people to actually get through those security lines, Samir? I'm sure you've heard a lot of complaining there.
A lot of frustrated passengers, Nella and Bridget. So right now where we're standing, we're actually in Terminal 1. You can see, of course, the queues to get into the security check. That line actually extending outward and going down the terminal a little bit. This amid the partial government shutdown that you just mentioned. Of course, TSA agents yet again going without a paycheck.
Now, this is like deja vu from like 3 months ago. And if you didn't learn your lesson then, you're still going to go to the United States, or you're going to have a stopover or layover in the United States. I don't know what to say to you. But I have a question, and I'm not sure if anyone can answer this. But I remember the orange guy saying that if the TSA agents didn't show up sick or didn't, not show up for their shift, he would give them like $2,000 or $5,000 each. Did he ever do that? Because this time around, like the TSA 2.0 shutdown, seems like there's a lot more agents that are just not showing up.
This would mark the third time that they've done that in under a year. This as the Trump administration is pointing the fingers at Democrats, chopping it up to political games.
The line for TSA begins also go.
That line snaking outside of Terminal 1 as travelers arrive to Fort Lauderdale Hollywood International Airport Saturday.
My jaw dropped. I was like, holy.
TSA turbulence continues across the nation amid a partial government shutdown. Federal employees of the Department of Homeland Security left without a paycheck on Friday.
They actually need to be able to be paid. If they come to work, they should get paid their full pay because they have families also. And if the government is not hungry, why should the people that work every day for a hard living be hungry?
It really sucks that this is happening for the TSA agents. And it sucks going without a paycheck. But you know who's getting a paycheck? The orange guy and probably his entire administration. But it's not just affecting the TSA agents, it's affecting anybody that's traveling in or out or through the United States. I mean, look at these people in the freeze frame right now. I mean, they're probably trying to get somewhere and it doesn't look too fun just sitting around. And it's not just the Fort Lauderdale airport. Let me show you this one from Austin.
Currently in the Austin security line, and this is how long it is.
There's the airport, and here's the line. Finally at the end, and here's the airport again.
So, this is not a unique thing to Fort Lauderdale. It's happening everywhere in the United States.
Impacts already felt inside travelers waiting around as TSA lines nearly gridlock the terminal.
That's unfortunate, and hopefully we can get the government to open them back up and start paying them.
TSA agents across the country caught in the crosshairs of a political battle on Capitol Hill. In under a year, this marks the third time TSA workers have been impacted by government shutdowns, leaving them without pay despite working.
So what would you do if you were in the position of a TSA agent?
Honestly, I'm not sure because I wouldn't want to hold people up and I would want to do my job. But at the same time, if you're not being paid, it's a problem. Yeah.
The Trump administration estimates since the DHS shutdown, more than 300 TSA agents have quit, along with the 1,000 who resigned during last year's shutdown.
So again, I ask, do we know if these TSA agents got their like $2,000 or $5,000 each that the orange guy promised them? I'm really, really curious, to be honest. I'm probably going to guess no, they didn't get it.
I wouldn't show up. I mean, it's not fair to them. They're putting in hours, and they need to make a living for themselves.
A problem now facing jet setters trying to make it home.
I feel really bad for them, and every person that's here working without a paycheck, God bless them.
All right, so we can tell you some major airports across the nation have asked travelers to bring donations for TSA agents like gift cards, non-perishable foods, and other items. Locally here at FLL, we can tell you airport officials saying they are partnering with the United Way of Broward County to put on a food drive to assist TSA agents.
Mind boggles me that the US government, they can spend like $1 billion a day on the war in the Middle East. Yet the community is being asked to bring in donations, gift cards, and anything that would help the TSA agents. Just put food on the table. Something is drastically wrong here, and the entire world can see it. But unfortunately, many within the borders of the United States just don't see it, or they don't care unless it affects them. But for me personally, and this is just my opinion, I'm glad I'm not within the borders of the United States and I don't have to deal with this. Now, many of us can choose to deal with it if you're going to vacation in the United States, or you're going to transit or have a layover in the United States. I mean, if you're going to touch the kettle when there's a big hot sign right there, that's totally up to you. But I think if you're following my channel, you're probably staying well away, just like I am. Okay, that's all I got for this video. If you found any value or agree with anything I said in this video, or you want to hear more from a Canadian and international perspective without the US media bias, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button below. That way you're notified of my future videos. And if you want to watch more of my videos, check out the ones that'll show up on your screen shortly. Thanks everyone. I'll catch you in the next one.